Captain Elena Vasquez stared at the star charts on her ship's main screen. The merchant vessel Terra's Hope was 3 days out from the Titan colony, carrying medical supplies and food to the Outer Rim settlements. It was routine work, the kind that paid well and kept her crew busy without too much danger. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Marcus Kane from the communications station. The young officer had been with Elena's crew for 2 years now, and she trusted his judgment. When Marcus said something was strange, it usually meant trouble. Elena walked over to his station. "What kind of strange, Marcus?" "It's a distress signal, but it's coming from the Helix Nebula. That whole area has been marked as forbidden by the Galactic Council for over 50 years. Marcus adjusted his headset and frowned. "The signal is weak, but it's definitely there." The Helix Nebula was one of those places that spacers talked about in whispers. Ships went in and never came back out. The official record said it was due to dangerous radiation and unstable gravitational fields. Most people believed there were worse things lurking in that cosmic storm of gas and dying stars. "Let me hear it," Elena said. Marcus played the signal through the ship's speakers. It was barely audible above the static, but Elena could make out what sounded like words in an ancient language she had heard before in her studies at the academy. "Computer, analyze this signal and identify the language," she ordered. The ship's artificial intelligence took several seconds before responding. Language identified as Ancient Catherian. Warning: this language has been classified as extinct for approximately 3,000 standard years. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The Catherians were legends now, stories told about the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. They had technology that seemed like magic to other species. Then one day, they simply vanished. No one knew what happened to them. "Can you translate it?" she asked the computer. Translation follows, "Help us. The Devourers have returned. Catheria Prime coordinates follow. We are the last." The bridge fell silent. Elena's crew of 12 humans had all stopped their work to listen. Tom Bradley, her chief engineer, was the first to speak. "Captain, the Devourers are just myths, aren't they? Old stories to scare children?" Elena wished she could say yes, but her academy training had included classified information about ancient threats. The Devourers were mentioned in the oldest galactic records as creatures that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing behind but empty space and death. "Marcus, how long ago was this signal sent?" she asked. "Based on the quantum decay, I'd say. Maybe 6 hours ago. It's a miracle we picked it up at all." Elena looked around at her crew. These were good people who trusted her to keep them safe. Taking them into the Helix Nebula would be insane. Every regulation, every piece of common sense told her to report the signal to the authorities and continue on their mission. But somewhere in that forbidden nebula, the last survivors of the most advanced species in galactic history were calling for help. "Tom, how long would it take us to reach those coordinates?" she asked. Her engineer checked his instruments. "About 8 hours if we push the engines. But Captain, the radiation levels in that nebula could kill us." "What about our shielding?" "It might hold, but there's no guarantee, and that's assuming. Radiation is the only thing we have to worry about." Elena thought about the message. We are the last. If the Catherians really were still alive, they possessed knowledge that could benefit the entire galaxy. But more than that, they were calling for help. Elena had never been able to ignore a distress call, even when the smart thing to do was walk away. "All hands, this is the captain," she announced over the ship's communication system. "I'm calling. A crew meeting in the main cargo bay. Everyone drop what you're doing and report there in 5 minutes." When her crew assembled, Elena explained the situation. She told them about the signal, the coordinates in the Helix Nebula, and the very real possibility that they might not come back. "I won't order anyone to come with me," she said. "This is volunteer only. Anyone who wants to stay behind can take the shuttle to the nearest station." Her crew looked at each other for a long moment. Then Marcus raised his hand. "I'm in, Captain." "Same here," said Tom. One by one, every member of her crew volunteered. Elena felt a surge of pride. Humans might be considered primitive by galactic standards, but they had something many other species lacked, the willingness to risk everything for strangers. "All right then," Elena said. "Let's go see what's left of the Catherians." The journey into the Helix Nebula was terrifying. The space around them glowed with strange colors as cosmic radiation battered their shields. Tom worked constantly to keep the engines running while the ship's medical officer, Dr. Sarah Chen, monitored everyone for radiation poisoning. As they traveled deeper into the nebula, they began to see debris floating in space. Massive chunks of metal and strange crystalline structures drifted past their viewports. Some of the debris was clearly artificial, the remains of ships or stations. "Captain, I'm reading a large structure ahead," reported their navigator, Lieutenant Jake Morrison. "It's huge, maybe the size of a small moon." On the main screen, they could see it, a city floating in space. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Elegant spires reached out from a central sphere, but many of them were broken or dark. The few lights that still shone seemed weak and flickering. "That's Catheria Prime," Elena whispered, "the capital of their empire." As they approached, Elena could see that the city was surrounded by other ships. But these vessels looked wrong, somehow. They seemed to be alive, pulsing with a sick green light. As Terra's Hope got closer, the alien ships began to move. "Captain, we're being scanned," Marcus reported. "Whatever those things are, they know we're here." Before Elena could respond, the alien ships surrounded them. Up close, she could see that they weren't really ships at all. They looked like enormous insects made of metal and flesh, with weapons that seemed to grow from their bodies. "Captain, I'm detecting massive biosignatures from those vessels," Dr. Chen called out. "They're not machines. They're alive." The ship's computer suddenly activated without being asked. "Warning, hostile life forms detected. Recommend immediate retreat." Elena stared at the creatures surrounding her ship. These had to be the Devourers, the ancient enemy that the Catherians had mentioned in their message. And now Terra's Hope was trapped among them. "Marcus, send a quantum burst message to Earth immediately," she ordered. "Emergency channel." What should I tell them? Elena watched as more of the bioships approached. Soon there would be dozens of them. Her small merchant vessel had no chance against such numbers. Tell them, "Xenocide in progress. Request immediate assistance. Grid 447 Helix. Time is everything." The message was sent just as the first bioship extended what looked like tentacles toward Terra's Hope. Elena could hear the hull groaning as the alien creature began to pull them in. "All hands, prepare for boarding," she announced. "We're about to meet the Devourers face to face." As her crew grabbed weapons and prepared for the worst, Elena wondered if her message would reach Earth in time. And even if it did, would anyone believe that the ancient enemy of legends had returned to finish what they started thousands of years ago? The last thing she saw before the bioship's tentacles covered their viewports was the dying city of Catheria Prime, its lights growing dimmer as the Devourers continued their feast. Admiral Harrison Cross was reviewing supply reports when the priority alert came through. The message had traveled across half the galaxy using quantum burst technology, which meant someone was in serious trouble. Emergency communications were expensive and only used when lives were at stake. He read Elena Vasquez's message 3 times before the full meaning hit him. Xenocide in progress. The word sent a chill through every human who understood its meaning. It meant the complete destruction of an entire species. "Computer, locate Captain Elena Vasquez and the merchant vessel Terra's Hope," he ordered. "Captain Vasquez is currently listed as conducting supply runs to Outer Rim colonies. Her last reported position was 3 days out from Titan Colony." Cross pulled up the coordinates from Elena's message. Grid 447 Helix was deep in the forbidden zone of the Helix Nebula. No human ship had any business being there, which meant Elena had responded to a distress call despite the enormous danger. "Get me President Martinez immediately," Cross told his aide, "and activate Protocol Omega." His aide's face went pale. Protocol Omega had been created 50 years ago when humanity first joined the galactic community. It was the plan that no one talked about, the option that everyone hoped would never be needed. Within minutes, President Martinez appeared on Cross's screen. The leader of Earth looked tired, but her eyes were sharp and focused. "Harrison, my computer is telling me you just activated Protocol Omega. Please tell me this is a drill." "I'm afraid not, Madam President. We have a confirmed xenocide event in progress in the Helix Nebula. One of our merchant captains is trapped there and requesting immediate assistance." Martinez was quiet for a long moment. "Are we talking about the Devourers?" "That's my assessment. The timing, the location, the nature of the threat all match the classified files. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this possibility. While other species saw humans as violent primitives from a death world, human leaders had been planning for the day when that violence might be needed to protect innocent life. Truth was that humanity had been building the largest military fleet in known galactic space. Every colony ship had hidden weapons systems. Every mining operation included military personnel. Every merchant vessel like Elena's carried enough firepower to level a city. The galaxy thought humans were traders and explorers. They had no idea that Earth's children were actually the most dangerous military force in the known universe. "How long until the fleet can be ready?" Martinez asked. 6 hours for the fast attack ships, 12 hours for the full battle fleet. Do it. And Harrison, bring them all home." Cross nodded and cut the connection. Then he began the process that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "All stations. This is Admiral Cross. Protocol Omega is now active. Repeat, Protocol Omega is active. All military assets are to report for immediate deployment." Across human space, the response was immediate. On Luna Base, Captain James Riley watched his destroyer squadron's crews run to their ships. The sleek vessels looked like merchant escorts, but each one carried enough firepower to destroy a battle cruiser. At the shipyards orbiting Mars, the massive dreadnought Unconquerable began powering up its engines. The ship was officially listed as a deep space exploration vessel, but its real purpose was to serve as the flagship of humanity's secret fleet. Commander Lisa Torres received the activation signal while her stealth ships were conducting scientific surveys near the galactic core. Within minutes, her squadron was racing toward the rally point, their advanced cloaking systems hiding them from any observers. But the crown jewel of humanity's hidden fleet was the supercarrier Earth's Wrath, commanded by Admiral Patricia Stone. The massive ship was disguised as a mobile research station, but its hangar bays held 300 of the most advanced fighter craft ever built. As ships began arriving at the rally point, Cross studied the intelligence reports coming in from the Helix Nebula. Long-range sensors were detecting massive energy signatures and what appeared to be dozens of large bioships. The reports matched classified files about the Devourers, an ancient enemy that consumed entire civilizations. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from Galactic Intelligence," his communications officer reported. The message was from Director Kethvar, the Altarian who ran the galaxy's intelligence network. His species was known for being calm and logical, but he sounded panicked. "Admiral Cross, our sensors are detecting massive fleet movements from human space. What are you doing?" Cross smiled grimly. For 50 years, humanity had pretended to be peaceful traders while secretly building the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Now it was time to reveal the truth. "Director, we're responding to a xenocide event. I suggest you alert the Galactic Council that humanity is going to war." Before Kethvar could respond, Cross cut the transmission. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were really capable of. The first ships to arrive at the Helix Nebula were Riley's destroyer squadron. Their mission was to gather intelligence and locate Elena's ship. Using their advanced stealth systems, they slipped into the nebula undetected. What they found was worse than anyone had imagined. The bioships weren't just attacking the Catherian city. They were systematically destroying everything in their path. Entire moons had been stripped of life, leaving behind nothing but dead rock. "Command, this is Riley," the captain reported back to Cross. "The hostiles have consumed 12 star systems that we can detect. There are hundreds of bioships, possibly thousands. They're not just attacking, they're feeding." Cross felt anger building in his chest. The Devourers weren't just killing for territory or resources. They were consuming entire worlds for the simple pleasure of destruction. "Can you locate Captain Vasquez?" "We've detected Terra's Hope inside one of the larger bioships. Life signs are weak but present. Admiral, these things are the size of space stations. Our normal weapons might not be enough." Cross looked at the tactical display showing the size of the Devourer fleet. Any other species would have called for negotiations or tried to evacuate the area. But humans had learned long ago that some enemies could only be stopped by superior firepower. "Riley, maintain your position and keep gathering intelligence. The cavalry is coming." As more human ships arrived at the rally point, word began spreading through the galaxy that something unprecedented was happening. The humans, who had been ignored and underestimated for decades, were assembling a fleet that dwarfed anything the major powers could field. On the bridge of Earth's wrath, Admiral Stone watched the tactical displays with satisfaction. 300 fighters, 50 destroyers, 20 heavy cruisers, and the massive dreadnought Unconquerable. It was enough firepower to level entire star systems, but she knew it might not be enough. The reports from the nebula indicated that the Devourers had been building their strength for centuries. This would be the largest space battle in galactic history. "All ships, this is Admiral Cross aboard Unconquerable. We are facing an enemy that views all life as food. They have already consumed billions of innocent beings, and they will not stop until every world is dead. Today, we show the galaxy what humans do when faced with impossible odds." The human fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind a galaxy that was just beginning to understand that the quiet species from the Deathworld had been hiding the strength of Titans. At the Galactic Council, emergency sessions were being called as intelligence reports flooded in. The humans had somehow built a fleet larger than the combined forces of the three major powers, and they were taking that fleet into the most dangerous region of space to fight an enemy that most species considered mythical. Director Kethvar stared at the tactical displays in disbelief. "How did we miss this? How did a species we considered primitive build something like this?" His aide, a young Centaurian named Veltar, had been studying human history since the activation was detected. "Sir, I think we misunderstood their entire civilization. Their homeworld isn't just dangerous because of environmental factors. It's dangerous because it breeds warriors." As the human fleet approached the Helix Nebula, Cross received one final message from Earth. It was from President Martinez, and it was simple. "Bring our people home, Harrison. All of them." Cross understood. Elena Vasquez had risked everything to answer a call for help. Now it was humanity's turn to answer hers. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Helix Nebula like a steel storm. Admiral Cross stood on the bridge of the Unconquerable, watching as his tactical display lit up with hundreds of targets. The Devourer bioships were spread throughout the nebula, feeding on the remains of what had once been a thriving civilization. "All ships, execute Operation Rescue," Cross ordered. The plan was complex but necessary. While the main battle fleet engaged the larger bioships, specialized teams would infiltrate the creature holding Elena's vessel and extract any survivors. It was dangerous, but humans had never been afraid of dangerous odds. Captain Riley's destroyer squadron led the assault, their weapons lighting up the darkness of space. The bioships reacted immediately, turning their attention from their feeding to face this new threat. What they found was unlike anything they had encountered before. Human weapons were designed with one purpose: to kill efficiently, while other species favored energy weapons that could be adjusted for different situations. Humans had perfected projectile weapons that could punch through any known armor. Their missiles carried warheads designed to exploit the weaknesses of biological targets. The first exchange of fire lasted only minutes, but the results were shocking. 3 bioships, each the size of a cruiser, were destroyed before they could mount an effective defense. The humans fought with a precision and savagery that seemed impossible to reconcile. "Target their feeding appendages," Admiral Stone ordered from Earth's wrath. "If these things need to consume matter to survive, let's see how they like starving." Her fighter squadrons swarmed around the larger bioships like angry insects, targeting the tentacle-like structures the creatures used to strip matter from dead worlds. The fighters moved in patterns that no other species would attempt, diving through crossfire and pulling maneuvers that would have killed pilots from any other world. But humans had evolved on a planet that tried to kill them every day. High-gravity maneuvers that would crush other species were normal for human pilots. Lieutenant Commander Alex Morrison led the rescue team tasked with finding Elena's ship. His team consisted of 12 Marines in powered armor, equipped with weapons, designed specifically for boarding actions. Their target was a bioship the size of a space station, its hull pulsing with alien life. "Remember, these things are smart," Morrison told his team as their assault shuttle approached the bioship. "They've been fighting for thousands of years. Don't underestimate them." The rescue team cut through the bioship's hull using plasma torches, creating an opening large enough for their assault. What they found inside was a nightmare of organic corridors and chambers that seemed to shift and move on their own. "Motion sensors are going crazy in here," reported Sergeant Kelly Wright. "These walls are alive." The team moved carefully through the bioship, following life signs that hopefully led to Elena and her crew. The corridors were filled with a thick, humid atmosphere that smelled of decay and alien chemistry. Strange growths lined the walls, some of which seemed to watch the humans as they passed. They found Terra's Hope in what appeared to be a digestive chamber, the merchant vessel partially dissolved by acid, but still intact. Morrison's team quickly cut through the weakened hull and found Elena's crew alive but injured. "Captain Vasquez, I'm Lieutenant Commander Morrison, Human Navy," he said as he helped Elena to her feet. "We're here to get you out." Elena looked at him in confusion. "Human Navy? I thought we only had merchant Marines and colony defense forces." Morrison smiled grimly. "There's a lot about humanity that the galaxy doesn't know, Captain. Right now, our entire fleet is out there fighting these things." As the rescue team evacuated Elena's crew, the battle in space continued to escalate. The Devourers had initially been caught off guard by human tactics, but they were adapting quickly. Bioships began forming coordinated attack patterns, using their superior numbers to overwhelm human positions. Captain Riley found himself in the fight of his life as 5 bioships converged on his destroyer squadron. His ship, the Defiance, was taking heavy damage from weapons that seemed to eat through their armor. "All ships, execute pattern Delta 7, he ordered. The human ships immediately changed formation, creating interlocking fields of fire that caught the bioships in a deadly crossfire. It was a maneuver that required split-second timing and complete trust between crews. The bioships, used to fighting predictable opponents, were caught completely off guard. But victory came at a cost. The destroyer Vengeance took a direct hit from a bioweapon that seemed to turn its own hull against it. Riley watched in horror as the ship's armor began to dissolve, exposing the crew to the vacuum of space. "Vengeance, this is Defiance. Report your status." The response was calm and professional, even as the ship died around them. "Defiance, this is Captain Martinez. We're gone, sir. Tell my family I love them." The Vengeance exploded in a ball of fire, taking all hands with it. Riley felt anger building in his chest. These creatures had just killed 43 good people, and they would pay for every single life. All ships, concentrate fire on the largest bioship. Let's see how they like losing something important. Meanwhile, inside the bioship, Morrison's team was fighting their way out with Elena's crew in tow. The rescue had succeeded, but the bioship was responding to their presence by sending what appeared to be antibodies after them. The creatures chasing them looked like a cross between spiders and jellyfish, moving along the walls and ceiling, with frightening speed. Morrison's Marines formed a rearguard, using their advanced weapons to hold off the alien defenders while the civilians escaped. "Morrison, you need to move faster," came Admiral Stone's voice over the radio. "We're detecting massive bioship reinforcements heading this way. If you're not out in 10 minutes, we'll have to leave you behind." "Understood, Admiral. We're almost to the shuttle." The team reached their assault shuttle just as the bioship began to convulse around them. The creature was dying, its systems failing as human weapons tore through its vital organs. Morrison's shuttle launched just as the bioship began to collapse, in on itself. As they returned to the fleet, Elena got her first look at humanity's true military might. The space around them was filled with human warships engaged in the largest battle she had ever witnessed. The elegant lines of human destroyers danced between massive bioships, their weapons creating streaks of light across the darkness. "How many ships do we have out there?" she asked Morrison. "This is just the fast response fleet, Captain. The main battle group is still forming up." Elena stared in amazement. The galaxy had always considered humans to be peaceful traders and explorers. She was beginning to understand that they had been very wrong about her species. The battle was turning in humanity's favor, but Admiral Cross knew it was far from over. His sensors were detecting something massive approaching from deeper in the nebula. Whatever it was larger than anything they had encountered so far. "All ships form defensive positions around the Catherian city," he ordered. "Whatever's coming, we make our stand here." As the human fleet regrouped, they received an unexpected transmission from the dying Catherian city. A weak voice speaking in heavily accented galactic standard reached them through the static. "Human vessels, this is Dr. Nala Vrex of the Catherian Science Council. We have been monitoring your battle. Your tactics are unlike anything we have seen. How do you fight with such coordination against impossible odds?" Admiral Cross responded. Personally. "Dr. Vrex, humans come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight or we died. What information can you give us about these devourers?" "They are not natural creatures, Admiral. They were created as biological weapons by an ancient race. They consume life not for sustenance, but because that is their programming. And what approaches now is their command ship. It is the size of a small moon." Cross looked at his tactical display as the massive shape began to appear on sensors. The thing approaching them was indeed the size of a moon, and it was heading directly for the human fleet. "Dr. Vrex, is there any way to stop something that large?" "Perhaps, Admiral. But first, you must know the truth about what you are fighting. The Devourers were not created by aliens. They were created by humans." The transmission cut off, leaving Admiral Cross staring at his screens in shock. Elena's rescue was complete, but the real battle was just beginning, and now they faced an enemy that might have been created by their own species millions of years ago. Admiral Cross stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The Devourer command ship had broken away from the main battle and was heading directly toward Earth. Its trajectory was clear and terrifying. It would reach humanity's homeworld in less than 36 hours. "All ships, pursuit course immediately," Cross ordered. "We cannot let that thing reach Earth." But even as he gave the command, Cross knew they might already be too late. The bioship was massive beyond imagination, and it had a significant head start. If it reached Earth before the fleet could intercept it, billions of innocent people would die. On Earth, General Maria Santos received the warning with grim determination. As head of planetary defense, she had always known this day might come. Hidden beneath Earth's surface and in orbit around the planet were weapons systems that the galaxy had never suspected. "Activate all orbital defense platforms," she ordered, "and evacuate all major population centers to the underground shelters." Across Earth, warning sirens began to wail as billions of people received the emergency broadcasts. The message was simple but terrifying. An alien threat was approaching Earth, and everyone needed to get underground immediately. The panic was controlled but intense. Humans had always known their world was dangerous, and they had prepared for disasters their entire history. Within hours, major cities were empty, as people moved into vast underground complexes that had been built over decades. Meanwhile, Dr. Nala Vrex worked frantically in the ruins of the Catherian city. Elena had volunteered to stay behind with a small team to help the alien scientist access ancient records that might contain information about stopping the Devourers. "Captain Vasquez, what I'm about to show you will be difficult to accept," Dr. Vrex said as she led Elena through the damaged corridors of the Catherian archive. They entered a chamber filled with crystalline storage devices that hummed with energy. Dr. Vrex placed her hand on one of the crystals, and suddenly the room filled with holographic images. "These are records from the time before the Devourers first appeared," she explained. 3 million years ago, there was another human civilization. They were spacefaring, powerful, and extremely aggressive. Elena watched in fascination as the hologram showed images of humans in advanced spacecraft, but these humans looked different somehow. They were taller, their features sharper, and their technology was far beyond anything modern humanity possessed. "They called themselves the First Empire," Dr. Vrex continued. "They conquered hundreds of worlds, enslaving or destroying any species that opposed them. The galaxy lived in terror of human expansion." The hologram shifted to show battles between ancient humans and various alien species. Elena could see that these early humans fought with a brutality that was shocking even by current standards. "What happened to them?" Elena asked. "They created the Devourers as biological weapons to clear worlds for human colonization. But the creatures were too successful. They consumed everything, including their creators. The First Empire fell, and the surviving humans scattered to primitive worlds like your current Earth." Elena felt sick as she watched holographic Devourers destroying entire star systems. "So modern humanity is descended from the survivors?" "Yes, but you are different. Your species learned from the mistakes of your ancestors. You fight not for conquest, but for protection. You risk your lives to save strangers." Dr. Vrex activated another crystal, and new information flowed through the holographic display. "There is a way to stop the Devourers permanently, but it requires something that only modern humans possess." "What?" "The genetic key that was built into the Devourers' programming. Your ancient ancestors included a shutdown command in case the creatures ever turned on them. But accessing it requires someone to interface directly with Catherian biotechnology." Elena looked at the alien devices surrounding them. "What are the risks?" "For most species, death is certain. The neural interface was designed for Catherian physiology. But humans share enough genetic markers with your ancestors that you might survive." Before Elena could respond, urgent communications came through from Admiral Cross. The Devourer command ship had accelerated and would reach Earth in 12 hours. There was no time for careful planning. "Dr. Vrex, if I do this interface, what exactly will happen?" "You will gain access to the Devourer control protocols. But more than that, you will see the memories of your ancestors. You will understand how to use technology that your current species has forgotten." Elena thought about Earth, about the billions of people huddled in underground shelters waiting to learn if they would live or die. She thought about her crew, about Admiral Cross and all the brave humans fighting impossible odds in space. The interface procedure was unlike anything Elena had ever experienced. Catherian biotechnology merged with her nervous system, flooding her mind with information that was 3 million years old. She screamed as ancient memories that weren't her own filled her consciousness. She saw the rise of the First Empire, watched as humans spread across the galaxy like a plague. She felt their arrogance, their certainty that they were superior to all other life. She experienced the moment when they decided to create the perfect biological weapon. But she also saw their fall. The Devourers had turned on their creators exactly as Dr. Vrex had described. Elena watched through ancient eyes as the creatures consumed world after world, growing stronger with each victory. Then she found what she was looking for: the shutdown, command buried deep in the Devourers' genetic programming. But accessing it would require more than just knowledge. It would require a sacrifice that would change her forever. Meanwhile, the battle for Earth had begun. The massive Devourer command ship dropped out of hyperspace and immediately began its attack on the planet's orbital defenses. General Santos watched from her command bunker as humanity's hidden weapons revealed themselves. Orbital platforms that had been disguised as communication satellites opened fire with weapons that could crack moons. Missile batteries hidden on Earth's surface launched volleys of warheads designed specifically to target biological structures. But the Devourer ship was enormous and heavily armored. For every weapon that found its mark, the creature had dozens of defensive systems. Slowly but steadily, it fought its way through Earth's defenses toward the planet itself. "All stations. This is General Santos," she announced. "We are fighting for our homeworld. Every man, woman, and child on Earth is counting on us. Do not let them down." The human fleet was still hours away, racing through space at maximum speed. Admiral Cross watched helplessly as reports came in from Earth's defense grid. They were inflicting damage on the command ship, but it wasn't enough. Then Elena's voice came through on the emergency channel, transmitted from the Catherian city. "Admiral, I've accessed the Devourer control systems. I can stop them, but I need you to do something for me." "Name it, Captain." "I need you to target the command ship's neural center with everything you have. When I give the signal, fire everything at these coordinates." Elena transmitted the targeting data. "The shutdown command will create a vulnerability, but only for a few seconds." Cross looked at the coordinates Elena had sent. They indicated a spot deep inside the command ship's core, surrounded by layers of armor and defensive systems. "Captain, even if we concentrate all our firepower, I'm not sure we can penetrate that deep." Elena's voice was different now, older somehow. The interface with Catherian technology had changed her in ways that went beyond the physical. "Admiral, you will find a way. Humans always find a way when people they care about are in danger." As Elena prepared to activate the shutdown command, she realized that Dr. Vrex had not told her everything. The interface was permanent. She would never be fully human again, but she would have access to knowledge that could help her species avoid the mistakes of their ancestors. On Earth, the Devourer command ship broke through the final line of orbital defenses and began extending feeding tentacles toward the planet's surface. In underground shelters, billions of humans waited to learn if their homeworld would survive. Elena took a deep breath and activated the ancient shutdown command, knowing that everything depended on Admiral Cross and the human fleet arriving in time to exploit the opening she was about to create. Elena felt the ancient shutdown command flow through her transformed consciousness like liquid fire. The interface with Catherian technology had changed her at a fundamental level, giving her access to knowledge that spanned millions of years. She could see the Devourer command ship's neural pathways as clearly as if they were part of her own body. "Admiral Cross, the shutdown command is active," she transmitted to the human fleet. "You have 30 seconds when the neural center will be vulnerable. Everything depends on this shot." Across space, Admiral Cross watched as his fleet approached Earth at maximum speed. The Devourer command ship was already extending its feeding tentacles toward humanity's homeworld, beginning the process that would strip the planet of all life. "All ships, concentrate fire on the target coordinates," he ordered. "Launch everything." "We have." But Cross knew that even their combined firepower might not be enough to penetrate the massive creature's defenses. That's when he made a decision that would define humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Open a channel to all galactic frequencies," he told his communications officer. It's time the galaxy knew what humans really are. The transmission went out to every inhabited system, every space station, every ship in the galaxy. Admiral Cross's voice carried the weight of absolute determination. "This is Admiral Cross of the Human Defense Fleet. We are currently engaged in battle with an ancient enemy that seeks to destroy all life in the galaxy. These creatures, known as the Devourers, have already consumed billions of innocent beings. They will not stop until every world is dead. On worlds across the galaxy, beings stopped what they were doing to listen to the humans' words. The Galactic Council members stared at their screens in shock as tactical displays showed the true size of humanity's military fleet. For 50 years, humanity has hidden our true capabilities," Cross continued. "We allowed the galaxy to see us as primitive traitors while we prepared for this day. We are the children of a death world, forged by millions of years of constant struggle. We know how to fight, and we know how to die for something greater than ourselves." In the depths of space, the human fleet opened fire on the Devourer command ship. Hundreds of missiles, energy beams, and kinetic projectiles converged on the neural center that Elena had exposed. The creature's defenses tried to respond, but the shutdown command had left it vulnerable for those crucial seconds. The combined firepower of humanity's secret fleet punched through layer after layer of bio-armor, driving deep into the command ship's core. When the weapons reached the neural center, the explosion was visible from Earth's surface. But even as the command ship died, its feeding tentacles continued to reach toward Earth. General Santos watched from her command bunker as the massive appendages descended through the atmosphere. "All ground-based weapons, target the feeding appendages," she ordered. "Don't let them touch the surface." Earth's hidden defense network revealed itself in full as weapons that had been disguised as civilian installations opened fire. The planet, that the galaxy had dismissed as a primitive world, showed its true nature as humanity's fortress. Meanwhile, Admiral Cross's transmission continued to broadcast across the galaxy. "We call upon every species that values life to join us in this fight. The Devourers cannot be negotiated with or reasoned with. They exist only to consume. If we do not stop them here, they will eventually reach your worlds." The response was immediate and overwhelming. From the Centaurian Republic came Admiral Veltar with 2 battle fleets. The peaceful Altarians, who had never fired a weapon in anger, sent their entire space navy. Even species that had been enemies for centuries put aside their differences to face the common threat. Dr. Nala Vrex, still connected to Elena through the Cytherian interface, provided crucial information to the growing fleet. "The Devourers have a home system," she transmitted. "If we can destroy their breeding grounds, we can end this threat forever." Elena, forever changed by her connection to ancient technology, understood what needed to be done. "Admiral, I can guide you to their home system, but the only way to destroy them completely is to trigger a stellar collapse. The quantum cascade will sever their hive consciousness permanently." Admiral Cross looked at the tactical display showing hundreds of allied ships from dozens of different species. Humanity had revealed its true strength, and the galaxy had answered. The call. "All fleet commanders, this is Cross. We're going to end this threat once and for all. Form up for jump to the Devourer home system." The combined fleet that jumped to hyperspace was the largest military force in galactic history. Ships from every major power and dozens of minor species flew alongside human vessels in perfect formation. The Devourer home system was a nightmare of consumed worlds and bioships. At its center, was a star that had been partially consumed, its energy being used to power massive breeding facilities. Millions of Devourer bioships filled the space around dead planets. "All ships, execute the plan," Cross ordered. The battle that followed was like nothing in galactic history. Human tactical doctrine guided the diverse fleet as they fought their way toward the system's star. Each species contributed their unique strengths: Centaurian speed, Altarian shields, human firepower, and dozens of other capabilities. Captain Alex Morrison led a suicide mission to plant quantum charges on the key breeding facilities. His team of volunteers from multiple species worked together with the precision of a single organism, each member knowing they would not survive the mission. Dr. Robert Chen, Elena's original science officer, coordinated the stellar collapse from aboard the science vessel Discovery. The calculations required to trigger a controlled star collapse were staggering, but Chen had help from scientists representing every major civilization. As the charges detonated and the star began its controlled collapse, the quantum cascade spread outward at the speed of light. Every devourer in the galaxy suddenly found itself cut off from the hive consciousness that had driven it for millions of years. The creatures that had consumed countless worlds simply stopped moving, their purpose gone, their connection to each other severed forever. The victory came at an enormous cost. Half the human fleet was lost, including some of humanity's finest leaders. Captain Morrison and his team died as heroes, ensuring the charges detonated properly. Dr. Chen remained at his post until the end, manually adjusting the stellar collapse calculations even as his ship was consumed by the quantum cascade. In the aftermath, the galaxy was forever changed. The Galactic Council formally recognized humanity not as a minor species from a death world, but as the galaxy's protectors. Human military doctrine became the template for galactic defense, and Earth became the new headquarters of the Galactic Defense Council. Elena, forever transformed by her connection to Catherian technology, became the first human ambassador to the restored Catherian worlds. Her decision to answer a simple distress call had ultimately saved all sentient life in the galaxy. But perhaps the most important change was in how the galaxy viewed humanity. The species that had been dismissed as primitive traitors were now understood for what they truly were. Warriors born on a world that had tried to kill them every day, who had learned that sometimes violence was the only answer to ultimate evil. Admiral Cross stood on the bridge of the rebuilt Earth's wrath, looking out at a galaxy that was finally at peace. The memorial wall behind him contained the names of every human who had died in the war against the Devourers. He activated the galactic communication system one final time, sending humanity's message to every inhabited world. We came from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight because we had to. We learned to protect each other because no one else would. Now we extend that protection to all who need it. This is what it means to be human. This is what it means to be Deathworlders. The message was received by trillions of beings across the galaxy, and for the first time in galactic history, the response was universal. Gratitude, respect, and the knowledge that as long as humans existed, the galaxy would never again face extinction alone. Elena stood in the observation deck of the Catherian city, now rebuilt and thriving. Through her enhanced senses, she could feel the pulse of life returning to dead worlds throughout the galaxy. Her sacrifice had been worth it. Humanity had answered the call for help, and in doing so, had become something greater than they had ever imagined, the guardians of all life in the galaxy.